So hello everybody, this is American Seagull Predictions, and I'm back with a new video. Today we are doing something kind of one of those, the rise and fall counties. I'm going to be going back and forth between counties that were Democrat, but are now trending vastly red. And I'm also doing counties that were Republican, but are now pretty big Democrat counties. Today we are doing Delaware County, or Delco. That's what they call it. Sounds like a business name. But it's actually... Delaware County PA is very, very Democratic now, but in the past it was very conservative. Delaware County was the county most Democratic, the second most Democratic county, only behind Philadelphia. Now, the county has been more of like somewhat of a moderate one, but compared to Montgomery, this county still has a lot of Republican life to it, considering how long ago it was. So back in the past, this county was like always Republican. Like even like Alf Landon, who like lost in a landslide, still carried it. Like he only like won Vermont and Maine. Like he still did pretty well. Even when Herbert Hoover was causing that recession, he actually didn't really move that much at all. That's just how like Republican Delaware County was. I bet if Trump ran back in '32, he'd probably win it by like 70. Like that's just how like good the county, how Republican what it was back then. How we're kind of beginning like in the kind of like the beginning of the like mid 21st century. Lyndon B. Johnson became the first one in a while to win Delaware County, but this is because Goldwater was like basically a racist. I don't know. I won't really say that, but he just was he didn't really appeal to a lot of the moderates in Delaware County. But I don't really know if you would call Nixon a moderate. Really, I mean, but he won the county. I don't really know what's up. I don't know why I say that. Well, I'll talk about how it was. Nixon got a pretty decent margin, but he wasn't able to get more than 2/3. I think in the beginning of the 70s, this was kind of like the end. This is like when blacks started moving in from Philadelphia. I think that's like one of the reasons why it turned blue, but I think also, but I'll talk about it later. But it was still pretty Republican, even with more blacks moving in there. I don't think there's like a ton, but a little bit more, so it made it not as Republican as it was, but still probably made it Republican. No, it still was Republican. In 1984, Ronald Reagan got 61.8 to 37.5. I really wish there's no Republican. I don't think that has gotten that good of a margin. Maybe in the past, like local level, maybe there's one that maybe got like 65%, but that guy's like probably like a god at the Philly suburbs. 1988 came around and Bush still, actually, the caucus didn't really do that much better for some reason. I don't know, I guess Bush was somewhat moderate. I don't really know what was going on, but Bush didn't really do that bad. I don't know why Nixon did so poorly here in 1960. I guess Kennedy was somewhat moderate. Nixon was like, oh, I'm not. And I think he ran like a populist messaging back in 1960. Kind of like Trump. That might have been closer. That's why it might have been closer. 1992 finally came around and it finally flipped. It shifted very far to the left for some reason. I mean, I'm assuming because more blacks moved in, But I think it's also because these moderate Republicans just got so fed up with George Bush, as they felt like that even the both far right wingers and more moderate Republicans left them getting destroyed by Bill Clinton, and even Ross Perot getting a lot of those voters. Um, uh, 1996 came around, and Bill Clinton extended his margin to 10 points. It was a really good margin, and it would continue with it even extending with George Bush not doing, with Al Gore even doing better. So, and actually surprisingly, every election it just gets bluer and bluer. Like, not even like Mitt Romney could stop the bleeding. Like, even, yeah. So it just keep on getting bluer to, and then finally, 2020, Trump would only get 36% of the vote to Biden 62.8. The main reason for the shift, I think, is just demographics generally. But I do think some suburbanites just moved there from, like, I don't know, other country parts of the country. Probably like Washington D.C. moved up to there. I think some people from Wilmington probably moved up to there, and probably started making it bluer. But I have to say the biggest one was when Bush won by 60 to losing it by 1 point. That's like a really big shift. Even in 1992, like that's pretty bad. But the last Republican I think went at a state level overall, I think, was Arlen Specter, but there might be another one. That Republican did well to nearly win it, but basically at the Senate level, who was basically a moderate who defeated this guy, was Josh Crin Shapiro, likes him. He also, Arlen Specter basically became a Democrat after that. He died in 2012. I don't even know if he was really that much of a Republican from the beginning. So I wouldn't really say it was Trump that accelerated, as it was already pretty Democratic even before Trump really came into politics. But Trump might have somewhat made the local elections flip. Surprisingly, though, I forgot to say this, but Republicans, even when it voted Democrat at the presidential levels a lot, from 1992 to 2016, like 25-ish years, even 25 years that it voted Democrat at the presidential level, it would still remain Republican at the local level until until 2019 when 2017 when they flipped back the Delaware County Controller, register and the county sheriff. All Democrats, and Democrats would finally get hold of the district attorney in 2019 with a narrow 3.2 victory. This was basically kind of like the fall, but still surprising, as this county has already voted Democrat for 20 years before that, the presidential level, and it took them this long for them to finally flip it. Now, unlike Montgomery, Delaware County has way more white working class voters. Like Republicans, Trump might be able to make some improvements. Maybe Republicans could at least start getting 40 again if they keep on doing that working class messaging, and maybe doing a little bit better in those maybe a little bit better. They could probably at least start getting 40-ish. They're low 40s probably. They'll probably get 41, 42. I think that's what they should aim for. That alone would probably make them win Pennsylvania back, as a pretty good Republican county. Someone like Dr. Oz probably would crack 40. I mean, Montgomery County probably won't be cracking 40. But I'm going to show you why I think it would probably vote by 40 in a red wave year. Even when these Democrats got reelected in 2021, they're not by that big of margins. You see here, this incumbent, she improved a little bit from 2017. But still, that's like really weak. It's only like 8 points. You know what Biden got here? 27. That is just pathetic for a Democrat at this point. And all these, like, even this black sheriff, he only got 8.56. And I guess Rachel Z. Berry, I guess Mary Walt retired. Where is it? This lady won by 9.61. And Kevin Robson, I think Maria McLaughlin got the best in 2021. I think she got 10. That's right, you heard me. 10-point win for her. Now, I guess it's somewhat of a shift, but Delaware, but compared to Montgomery, where Republicans, I don't really think can even crack 40 anymore. That's like long gone. Like only like one Republican in 2021 was able to crack 40, and it was like barely. It was like a pretty unpopular incumbent. Delaware County, on the other hand, in 2021, you're already basically granted you're going to crack 40% of the vote. And the best Republican was Foley Megan. She was also the only one that cracked 40 in Delaware County. But Delaware County, I think, it might be going a little bit more Republican. I mean, 46.8%, that's really good, especially since the county last voted Republican in 1988 at the presidential level. Like Trump got 36, she got 46. Biden got like 63. Now the Democrats only getting 53. So I think at state level, it's probably going to continue being. Republicans are probably going to crack 40 no matter what. It'd have to be a really bad scenario for a Republican to just narrowly win. Now, unlike something like Westchester County or Fairfield County, New York, Delaware County, I think, or Montgomery, Delaware County, I think, definitely has the best shot of coming back as more white working class. And the Democrats there that like Biden, they also have support the police signs. They don't really like the Black Lives Matter movement. So, and the blacks somewhat have been trending to the Republicans a little bit. I won't really say when they move that makes them blue, but when they stay kind of in Upper Darby, Chester, very Democratic areas, it kind of helps out the GOP. Swarthmore has always been Democrat. I don't even think Ronald Reagan would even win that area. So, I mean, Delaware County is probably going to remain leaning Democrat, but I think Republicans could make some improvement. I'm hoping that someone like Dr. Oz could crack 40. That'd be a real good goal. I don't think he has the best white working class appeal, but maybe someone like Lou Barletta could do way better. Definitely not going to win Delaware County, but he might be seeing somewhat of a shift to the right. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. American Seagull Predictions, out.